Whoa, whoa, whoa. Hold on. Before you write up a comment saying he's overpowered, let me explain. I do think Magni is one of the best adventure plants in the game, objectively. And yes, he technically has the highest DPS in the game. But I'm not talking about Magni in a power sense. I'm talking about him in a game design sense. Magni sucks because he just doesn't fit in the PvZ2 landscape, and here's why. But before we start, what is a magnifying grass? Magni is a 50 sun cost plant that is manual. Every time you tap him, he deals 550 damage per shot, which is actually a lot. What's admittedly unique about this plant is that it uses 50 sun per shot, which is pretty cool theoretically. Like I said before, Magni has one of the highest DPS in the game, which obviously makes him super strong. Also, using 50 sun per shot is extremely cheap, especially since sun producers like Sunshroom and Primal Sunflower produce 75 sun roughly every 35 seconds. If you have a stable sun production, this plant shreds levels. Besides, the fact that it's a manual plant allows you to pace up the levels so you can make even more sun. Moreover, Shinevine actually synergizes with Magni. When he is planted on Magni, it causes him to now shoot a free shot every 35 seconds. While not much, it's admittedly pretty cool. Now, it may sound like I'm glazing this guy, but I do have my issues with this plant. So, what's the problem? Magni, I feel like, is terribly designed as a plant. What do I mean by this? I feel like Magni just doesn't synergize well with any others. I know I'm contradicting myself considering I did say that it synergizes with Shinevine, but it's a sun producer in general and can fit in any deck, especially since it's pretty broken too. I mean, yes, it synergizes with instas and walls, but don't all plants? Hell, I call that a stretch because it can take care of early game just fine without semi-instas. And you may make the argument that you can use other attackers with it, but why would you ever do that? This A, wastes potential shots from your Magni, and more importantly B, throws off the entire point of him being a manual, allowing it to control the game. Now you're probably thinking, what about the other manual plants? Why are they not getting shit on? The reason why I think banana and coconut aren't really offenders of this problem is because they don't require sun to fire, which means putting other attackers with it isn't as detrimental to their gimmick. And that also means that their attackers are timer based. Putting other attackers may throw out pacing, like I said before, but I'd argue that these plants are more designed for higher density hordes because they all have splash attacks. Magni doesn't have splash attacks and wouldn't be good when there's a larger horde. Besides, having other attackers can help support these manual plants from getting taken out when they are vulnerable due to their cooldown period. Magni doesn't have a cooldown, so it doesn't need support. So now that we discussed all the major issues I have with it, what are some possible solutions? You may say that all of this reasoning can be solved if Magni gets nerfed, because he's stupidly busted. But we've seen this before, where Flourished did end up directly nerfing this plant, and it still had that major issue of not caring about the others. It was just less effective. It wasn't until they fully reworked him that it started to become more of a support manual plant. It still kept its no cooldown attacks, but now it costs 0 sun, so it can fit more freely in setups. And the seed packet recharge had been nerfed to 20 seconds, which massively helped the issue of it being too self-sufficient. Also, the fact that the shots are more heavier now with a higher sun cost, being 100 sun, adds more depth and strategy, making it so you have to use your shots wisely or else your sunbank will get emptied quick. Outburst also had a decent idea, nerfing his recharge to a whopping 60 seconds, while mostly staying true to Vanilla's Magni in most aspects. This requires you to either bring other attackers with it or stall out the game massively to make it work. Both these reworks are absolutely what it needed to have in a sense of flexibility and unique setups like the other manual plants, while being unique in the sense that it has shots have no cooldown. I'm a big Magnifying Grass hater. I feel like he was just purely made to disappoint me. I feel like he's such a cool concept. Using your sun to fire is super unique, but it was just poorly executed in my opinion. The mods I talked about here do an amazing job at actually making it an interesting plant by completely working the entire playstyle behind it. This is like my top 10 pet peeves of this game, and I'm not even joking. Anyways, guys, if you enjoyed my little rant and want to see more like this, how about you like and subscribe? I do streams and all that other garbage, and yeah, whatever. So, see you in the next one.